Hi, Dustin Klein with Smart Business. I'm here with Chris Thoen, Director of Innovation and Knowledge Management for Procter & Gamble. Chris, thanks for joining me.
Thanks very much.
Excellent. I want to talk a little bit today about innovation.
Absolutely.
It's been said that innovation can be used for a game changer for any company. Talk a little bit about at Procter & Gamble. How do you make it a game changer?
Happy to talk about innovation because it's essentially our lifeblood. And I would start with saying our belief really is that innovation is the way for sustainable competitive advantage and business growth. Within P&G, innovation really is our lifeblood. We breathe it in and out every day. Everyone in the organization does so. And we see it really as the cornerstone to continue to develop those best possible products and services for our consumers everywhere in the world. Innovation, I think, has been a great game changer for P&G. Especially over the past 10 years. And let me give you a couple of examples around what type of changes have been made with innovation. First of all, the change from very internal focus to now really external outreach. What I mean with that is the following. For many, many decades, P&G probably was a key innovator or certainly a co-inventor on Not Invented Here. We've now moved that to proudly found elsewhere and reapplied with pride.
Interesting.
Because what we have learned is that we are not really cornering all the innovation in the market that we need. So we need to find it on the outside. The second one is innovation that has turned from really what I would call technology push to now really consumer focus. For us, in P&G, consumer is really the boss. And the reason we say that is it's essentially the consumer that puts the money on the table, that hands over the money to the cashier and makes that choice to either buy a product of P&G or buy a competitive product. And therefore, for us, it's really important to really understand what a consumer is wanting in these products and really deliver that experience for the consumer. To be able to do that, we really need to understand the consumer fully. And to go forward with that, it's really finding the best possible innovations to put those into those products. Because in reality, for the consumer doesn't care about where that innovation is coming from. As long as that innovation is in the product that they buy and it delivers them that desired experience against their needs, that's what the consumer needs.
Where do you look for that?
Say that again?
Where do you look for those innovations, ideas?
Anywhere in the world. For us, it's tapping into a network of partners, ecosystems, and they range essentially from the individual innovator, inventor, to small and medium enterprises, to really big enterprises. Where the innovation comes from is not important. It's finding it, doing the right thing with it in our context, put them in the right products, and then deliver the right experiences for the consumer.
Do you have a process at Procter & Gamble for evaluating those ideas and saying this is something we can incorporate, we can do?
Yeah, essentially there is a variety of stage gates that we go through. P&G is certainly known to have their own processes and innovation processes. And we have a very disciplined process of stage gates along the line of the innovation process. There are different stages at which we can say go or no go for a project. And that total work process essentially goes from the fuzzy front end of finding that new innovation to the medium part of that innovation process, which is the more executional side of how do we put that innovation into the product to then ultimately commercializing it in the market. At every point in time, going from one stage to the next stage, we can ask the question, are we really delivering on what a consumer is looking for in terms of the experience, in terms of the performance of that product? And are we making the right improvements to keep moving that product from one phase to the next phase? If we stop it, that doesn't mean it's the end of that product. If we stop it, what it means is essentially it's not big enough for P&G, but then we can find, are there partners that could do something with that product? Or if the product isn't really delivering on what it needs to do, are there other partners that can bring in the new inventions for P&G to make that product bigger? It's very important to understand what the consumer wants. And therefore, as we go through that innovation work process, it's really understanding the consumer inside out. It's understanding the consumer in the right context. And just to give you an example, Mr. Clean Car Wash. It was a product where we said, look, it might be useful to do a car wash. It's very difficult in a way to talk about that concept just on a piece of paper, or as we are sitting here talking to each other about what that car wash experience should be. So what P&G decided to do was, we'll build a few pilot car wash facilities within the Cincinnati area so that we can test that concept, test that product in the right context. That turned out to be very successful, and we are now moving that into the national phase.
Interesting. When you're engaging your customer base, your vendors, your suppliers, to say, you know, what areas could we do better with for you, which helps lead to your innovation, are there specific questions that you would be asking them if you're engaging with a customer?
There's a variety of reasons we essentially tap into that, let's call it innovative ecosystem, of all these different partners that we have, small innovators to the big enterprises. We do it both proactively and reactively, and let me give you some more information on that. What we do proactively is, within the organization, my organization, the Connect and Develop organization, is responsible to understand from all the different business units what are their specific needs that they have between what we know we can do internally and what we ultimately need to be able to do for the company and for the consumer. We turn then those needs into needs briefs. Those needs briefs have really, what is it that we're looking for? What would success look like? And what is it not that we're looking for? Those needs briefs are then used proactively in our ecosystems and go and search for the right solutions to those needs. That's the proactive way. The reactive way is we also have our pgconnectdevelop.com website. We post those same needs on those websites, and a lot of people can go and visit that website and say, well, I think I've got a solution for you. So they then submit their ideas onto the website, and within P&G we then have a backstore process that we go and evaluate those ideas and see if it fits with our strategy and it fits with what we want to do. Once those ideas come in, we also have a commitment to those partners that have submitted those ideas to come back to them in a very reasonable time frame, 4 to 6 weeks, on whether or not this is an idea that has traction within the company and we want to move forward with it. As we have talked to our partners, that has been identified as a must-do, timely responsiveness to things that come into P&G. Having ideas come in and essentially be sucked into a black hole and not hear about it for 6 months, 9 months is not the right way to treat your partners. To be the partner of choice means timely responsiveness to those partners back. And when those ideas then continue to evolve, we essentially at this point in time have every business unit is working on ideas that have been submitted into the website. The other thing that we do, we have a global presence with Connect and Develop hubs that are spread around the world. We have about 70 people in total in that network. We feel it's very important to have that physical presence in the various regions. And the reason for that is, as we interact with our innovative partners, we need to be able to do that in their language, and we need to do that in their culture setting. So there are certain things you can do virtually, but there are many things you have to do face-to-face and ideally in the same language. So those hubs are essentially our outreach and our phase for the company to those partners, vendors, customers. We don't care where the solution is or who the solution has. Our target is identify it and make sure that our partners see us as the preferred partner of choice. Preferred partner of choice, what that means for P&G is we get the best ideas, and we get the best ideas first. So.
Who should be involved in evaluating and making the determination of go, no go once it's cleared those hurdles? Is every idea that clears those hurdles a go?
No, not necessarily, because there are many stages in the development of an innovative idea to ultimately a product that makes it into the market. This is a multifunctional process. We need to have the right technologists involved, we need to have the right marketing people involved, we need to have the right product supply people involved, the people that understand the market, the people that understand the consumer. At every stage, we have success criteria that we say, look, to be thinking that this product can be successful, this is what the success should look like for this product. If we don't meet it, again, it recycles and we look into, can we make it bigger? If we can't make it bigger, we look to partners whether or not it's a product for them. And we have a few of those. We have, for instance, Fit. Fit was a product that was developed even internally within P&G. It's a fruit wash product. We put it in the market. Ultimately, the business was not big enough for P&G. But it's a great product. And there is a customer market and a consumer market for it. But P&G, with the scale that we need to bring products in the market, it just didn't fit in our business model. We have set up an agreement with another smaller company, and they're now putting that into the market.
Interesting. And when you talk about marketing, P&G looks like they spend a lot of money on your marketing budget, making sure that people know the products and services that they want and need. How does that concept of marketing, that packaging, work to make sure people want and need the products that you create?
As I said before, it really starts from understanding the consumer in depth, really understanding what drives them to our product. And that's both in terms of performance, what that product does, importantly also the experience around that product, and importantly also the value proposition for that product. Our products are not necessarily the cheapest, but we need to make sure that we really target and strike that value target, that it's the right performance for the right price. All of that knowledge is being incorporated in how we are going to communicate about this product in terms of the benefits it delivers, what it does in terms of the experience for the consumer, and why it is the right value for the consumer. That is all built into that marketing, and I think we've been quite successful on that so far.
Excellent. It's been said Procter & Gamble is a great stock purchase because it is the 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Usage that everybody needs, the products and services you do. How do you, when you're looking at opportunities from the innovation side, how do you stick within that core competency? I know you mentioned the scalability with regard to the size of the organization, but how do you decide these are the types of products and services that fit within that niche?
A couple of things there. It's clearly important to define what are the areas where we want to play and what are the areas we don't want to play. For many, many years, this was all about physical products, consumables. Those will continue to be important, and we have significant business units where we have developed a strong portfolio of products, and we will continue to strengthen the performance of those products, make sure they have the right value. What we have also seen as we understand the consumer is they're not only looking for products, they're also looking for services. So as we continue to set ourselves up for success into the future, we need to make sure we also follow that trend into the market and make sure we don't only have consumables, but we have, for instance, also the right services. Coming back to the example of Mr. Clean Car Wash, that's one of those explorations in the initial phase of we had products that were very good at cleaning the car, but what we also understood was people don't like to clean the car themselves. It's a service. They want to drive their car to the car wash, someone takes care of it. So we're looking into, for the brands that we have, where can we stretch them beyond just the consumables into the service areas that surround those brand names, because the brand names are very recognizable for the consumer. Everyone knows what Mr. Clean stands for, and therefore that value that sits in that equity, how can we transpose that from just the consumable side to also the service side, for instance?
Excellent. Chris, I appreciate your time with me today. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.